So my name's Bevier. I come down here from Manning once a month to meet with all you guys because of the value that this organization and Karen's chapter has. I am a holistic health mentor that focuses on brain health, helping people keep a younger brain as they get older, avoid dementia, Parkinson's, other neurological diseases that we typically relate to age or genetics, which is not at all true. It's related to our health style. And so we can turn that around, and it's like planting a tree. When was the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Now. So regardless of your state of health or your mental condition, things can be improved. I also have been affiliated with StemTech for over 12 years now. They are the first company to introduce stem cell nutrition to the globe back in 2005, nutritional supplements that release millions of your own stem cells every day, every time you take the supplements. And stem cells are the foundation of our wellness and our renewal, so they're very important. And like a lot of things in our bodies, as we get older, the stem cells don't release as much, they diminish, like collagen. So our supplements help keep a more youthful level of stem cells. And then one thing that I've added to my list of ways to help people last year was the medicinal mushrooms. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. And then one more announcement is I now host a radio show. This is something that came up in the last month. I have a 5-minute slot right now because that's what was available. It's on WDRB Media, so WDRBmedia.com at 4:05 p.m. on Fridays. And as soon as I get into the flow of things and space opens up, I'm going to be doing a half-hour show, which will give me time to have guests and do 30-second ads for people at a reduced rate than what the radio station would normally charge. So that's exciting, something I never thought of doing, and the opportunity came up, and I said, okay, I'll figure it out. So cool.
You can go to WDRBmedia.com and you can live stream the radio show?
I haven't found any archives. If you aren't there live,
but you can get it live.
Yeah, you get it live. Yeah, there's no tune-in on the radio. It's all online. And it's a radio station that's been in business for many years that caters to entrepreneurs and getting people's stories and business information out there. So it's a variety of all different things. There's a big spiritual component to it. And so, yeah, it's exciting. I've got a 6-month contract, so we'll see where it goes. But yeah, so cool. So I'm going to talk today about medicinal mushrooms. I titled this Nature Strengthened by Science, the Power of Medicinal Mushrooms. I'm going to go through the basics. Mushrooms are becoming, a big topic in the wellness area. There's a lot of different mushroom types and brands out there, and I work with MyShroom. I've known the owner for about 10 years, and they do it very differently. And so I'm going to talk about mushrooms and mushroom products in general and their benefits. And I would call most of what's on the product a good supplemental quality. And what MyShroom has done is, by the research that they've been affiliated with and the owner's desire to have something better than what's out there, and I don't like to use the word pharmaceutical, but they truly have a pharmaceutical grade medicinal mushroom that is really several cuts above what you would get on the market from like Rise or these other mushroom products. So with that, I'm going to get started. And I'm not watching the time, Karen, so you can. So just a little bit of history. Archaeological evidence shows that mushrooms have been used for over 6,000 years. Primarily in China, Africa, North and South America, and we know that from Eastern medicine and American Indian medicine. Over almost 1,800 edible species of mushrooms have been identified, and there's over 800 or close to 800 that are used in medicinal practice, and China's been doing it for over 1,400 years. Where mushrooms improve our health, immune support. Many of the different mushrooms have compounds that enhance our white blood cells and boost our defense against infections and disease. They're rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. They contain a lot of fiber, so they're good for prebiotics to help with a healthy gut biome. Which we know is linked to both better digestion and immune function. And then they increase energy and reduce fatigue by improving cellular communication and hormone production and regulation. To get a little bit more specific with respect to some specific diseases, and I have to say, we don't diagnose, cure, heal anything. Enough said. But reishi, maitake, and turkey tail have been shown to slow or inhibit tumor growth by stimulating the natural killer cells and other immune functions, so they work well with cancer. Reishi, maitake, and oyster can help lower blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels, so they are good for heart health. And then lion's manes and some other species support cognitive function and improve and protect against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, and ALS. So just, there's, like I say, there's 800 medicinal mushrooms. There's probably a dozen or 2 dozen that are more common that we'll see in the products that you buy, but there's really about half a dozen that are the primary ones. And so I'll go through those real quickly. Reishi acts as an adaptogen, so it can both boost and moderate the immune system. So if you have an autoimmune disease, it helps lower your immune system so it doesn't overreact. So it can help improve sleep, reduce stress, and it supports cardiovascular health. Lion's manes is big in supporting memory and cognition. It stimulates the nerve growth factor. Cordyceps supports respiration, oxygen uptake and delivery, and ATP synthesis, which is involved in our energy production. I guess I advanced that unknowingly. Maitake supports immune health. It helps produce vitamin D and can help with blood sugar levels. Turkey tail boosts immune function with polysaccharides and beta-glucans, and it also supports gut health and can help with detoxing, especially with the liver. And then oyster is high in protein and fiber, so it supports heart health and cholesterol levels, and it also is key in regulating the immune system. So since I'm fairly, I didn't know much more about mushrooms than, just that they're out there and that they're healthy until I got started with mushrooms. So I did a little research. Just in general, the mushroom products that we see out there today come in various forms. They're powders, they're extracts, there's tinctures, there's gummies now. And the typical mushroom company that produces the products we consume is not a grower. They source from growers that they feel have good quality growing, growing facilities and produce, a non-toxin free product. They're typically grown, like when you go to a grocery store, you buy some edible mushrooms, there's some dirt on it. Well, that's either compost or manure. They grow on wood products like wood shavings or sawdust. Sometimes the growing media is sterilized, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the growing facilities are clean room or an attempt at being a more sterile condition. Sometimes they aren't. But what I found is all of the products seem to be tested for toxins and other things that wouldn't be good in the product to keep them clean. So I feel there's always better companies, and however they're all pretty good quality. But they source their mushrooms, so they don't have control over growing them. And they aren't done in the most sterile, clean room, pharmaceutical grade growing facilities. And so, and that's what my shroom does. So my shroom works with about 8 different mushroom blends. And the company got started in 2010. And I think I was going to wait until the end. I think I'll take time now to give you a little bit of history of the company, because it's very interesting and it goes to show how these are truly medicinal quality products. Alan, the founder, Alan Natrich, he's got a PhD in biology and biochemistry. He spent all his career in the hospital environments with nutrition and medical research. In 2006, he became aware of a university in Taiwan that was studying, doing research on medicinal mushrooms and cancer with lab animals. So he contacted them, found out what they were doing, got pretty excited about it, and then started looking for other universities. Well, he found several others. He brought them together to collaborate and with their research, and started developing ideas about how can we take this to the public, because it could be invaluable from a natural health standpoint. And so this is research that's been going on since the 70s. So we've got over 50 years of clinical research at universities with medicinal mushrooms and how to make them as effective as possible. He was at a conference in 2008 and standing around with a group of people at a break. Person walks up who knew someone in the group, looking pretty down, and his friend asked him, what's going on? You look like you just got hit by a truck. And he said, well, I just got a call from my best friend in Australia who's been treated for stage 4 brain and lung cancer. Doctors just told him there's no more he can do. He's got a few weeks to a few months to live. And so people were, giving their condolences, and Alan says, well, wait a minute. We've just heard, we know all about these mushrooms. Let's put together a blend quickly of the most effective ones and ship them off to him. So overnight, they worked with the labs that were local. They did that, got the mushrooms hand carried to Australia. And the patient started taking the mushrooms 4 tablespoons a day. And within a few days, they got a call saying, hey, I've got more energy, I'm starting to maintain weight, I just feel a whole lot better. I've heard 2 numbers. One is 21, one is 27. In either case, it's remarkable. The gentleman's doctor called and said he's cancer-free. All of the tumors are gone in both the lungs and the brain. And so Alan knew, okay, we're onto something. We've got the research behind us. We've now got one human case study. He was collaborating with the University of San Diego Medical Center, and there were 4 other people being treated for the same cancers. They started administering 4 tablespoons of what is now the immune blend, and got the same results. Within 3 or 4 weeks, all of the tumors were gone. And so he started to put together the financing and the resources to build a commercial facility in Carlsbad, California, and started the company. So that's the background behind all this. So it's really science-based. And so the mushrooms that go into the blends are basically the 6 that I had mentioned: reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps, maitake, turkey tail, and oyster. Oops. I'll go back here. And so these mushrooms are priority strains that have been hybridized, and hybrid are cross-breeding. It's not GMO by any means. So it's like taking the pollen from one rose and pollinating another rose to get a different colored rose. And so by doing that, they can get the most effective properties out of these mushrooms. They grow them on sterile organic substrates that consist of fruits and vegetables. So the nutrition, they're getting more nutrition for the mushroom than the other commercially grown ones are. And then they're, like I said, they're grown in sterile, clean rooms. I mean, the people that work in the growing rooms don't even breathe the air that the mushrooms are grown in. They've got their own air. They're in clean suits. The processing is different. A lot of the mushrooms are freeze-dried or heat-dried, or they're extracts, which removes some of the nutrition. Mushrooms are air-dried at ambient temperatures. It takes longer, but it preserves 100% of the nutrients. So what they've done is they now mass produce what has been researched for 50 years. So there's scientific validation from the research that was done, and there's 15 years of clinical evidence to show the effectiveness. The majority of the mushrooms that Mushroom sells is to medical practitioners, and a lot of them that are sold by people like me are working with people that are under their doctor's supervision. So when you hear about the effectiveness of Mushrooms products, it's not somebody putting their testimonial on a website. It's backed by doctors and science. Are they safe? Yes, absolutely safe. It's food. There have been no conflicts with medications that we know, and in most cases, it can enhance the effectiveness of any treatments or medications that the people are already on. So what's exciting, just to highlight one thing on this slide, one thing that's exciting is because of all the science behind this, and they are a little expensive, and they aren't covered by insurance. And getting any type of holistic care, the practitioners usually aren't part of a medical system where you can use your insurance. But one thing Alan has done has gone to the insurance companies in the US, and he's collaborating with 3 that have agreed with it when he provides the results of some studies that they specify what they would like to see. They will approve reimbursement for the mushrooms when prescribed by a doctor for specific diseases. And this one slide lists what they're working on, and he hopes to have 3 on board by the end of this year, and feels that once he gets a couple other insurance companies will see the value and hop on board. I mean, we've seen cancer tumors in humans without any other treatment, from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, the tumors be gone. Can you imagine the savings to insurance companies and the medical community by paying a few $1,000s for mushrooms for a couple of months versus the surgery and the chemo, plus just all the discomfort and agony that the patients go through? So that's another thing that excites me about what we're doing here. The immune blend, which was improved and modified a little bit from that first case with the gentleman in Australia, but it's 50 years of university history on developing the strains. I've said pretty much this: they're grown in sterile conditions and all organic and pure. So we're working with the mushroom industry to develop a whole new industry as food as a medicine that's supported by academic research, significant clinical experience, and it can be used either individually or as an adjunct protocol with other treatments. It's a superfood. It just enhances our body's physiology. And we envision the world thriving, healthy people who have knowledge and access to the high-quality hybrid mushroom blends for nutrition and health. And one thing Alan is working towards doing is getting the growing process economical enough so this can be taken. Facilities can be built in other parts of the world where food availability and starvation is an issue, because you don't need to eat much to get a lot of nutrition. And I was telling Connie before, one example is they did a trial with I think it was about 60 special forces. I don't know if it was Navy SEALs or which branch, where for 60 days all they ate was the mushrooms, minerals, and water. And nobody lost any muscle mass, nobody lost any weight. They were able to perform all of their duties with just that as food. So they can be very effective, and we just need to get the process and the price down so it can be used more economically.